This is a micro-learning course in Articulate Rise, which provides mid-level managers information about being inclusive of deaf and hard of hearing employees. So we're just going to go ahead and get started with the course. It all starts with the interview. Pointers on interviewing deaf or hard of hearing candidates. When planning your interview, ask the participant how they would prefer to communicate during their discussion, and then gather needed materials. If a sign language interpreter is requested, be sure to allow for enough lead time to get one arranged when selecting a date for the interview. Several days before the interview, provide the following to the job candidate: interview questions that will be asked, company literature, and an itinerary for the interview day. Tips for conducting a successful interview. Click on each plus sign below to read more about how to make the most of your interview. Lighting. Ensure that the interview space is well lit. Deaf and hard of hearing individuals need to see well should they choose to read lips during the conversation. Interviewing supplies. Be sure to have 3 pads of paper and pens for yourself, the candidate, and an interpreter. You may also wish to have a large or individual dry erase boards and/or writing erasing materials. Distraction-free space. As with all interviews, it is important to minimize distractions, but it is vital when interviewing deaf and hard of hearing individuals. So, mute your phone and close the door and ask not to be disturbed. Communication. If an interpreter is present, talk directly to the job candidate, not the interpreter. Be sure to sit directly across from the candidate. Do not have anything in front of your mouth when you are speaking. Effective employee communication, lesson 2. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. George Bernard Shaw. Communication skills in meetings. Deaf and hard of hearing individuals have important ideas and thoughts that can enrich any organization. Here are some things to keep in mind to make sure that communications are well received by all in your organization. Nonverbal cueing. Make direct eye contact with all people. Do not have anything in front of your mouth when speaking. Positioning. If an interpreter is present, the speaker should look directly at the deaf or hard of hearing individual, not the interpreter. In meetings, be sure that no employees talk with their back to the audience when writing on a whiteboard. Ensure good lighting for all meetings. Visual access to the speaker and a well thought out room to provide good access to anyone who will be speaking. To make it easier for all to follow the conversation, establish a norm that only one person should speak at a time. Visual aids. Provide an agenda for the meeting and stick to the flow of it. Capture the discussions and action items in meeting minutes and disseminate to the attendees. This is helpful for all employees. Use presentation visual aids such as charts, demonstrations, and handouts. If utilizing film or video, be sure that captioning is enabled. Unique soft skills of the deaf and hard of hearing. Deaf and hard of hearing people often have to adjust to changing environments. This skill helps them to incorporate well into established work cultures. Grit and perseverance are daily observable traits within the deaf and hard of hearing community. These qualities can serve as role model behaviors for others on staff. Their out-of-the-box creativity and problem-solving skills can bring unique solutions to organizations. In review, people who are differently abled in hearing and communication can and do make enormous contributions to organizations. Cultivating and fostering employee diversity adds richness and diversity to work climates. Managers who act as role models of inclusion embody acceptance of all members of the team.